Hi guys, in this video I'm going to discuss with you how to find the equation of a hyperbola. In here I'm going to present the shortcut or easiest way on how to do this. Okay, let's get started. Problem number 1, find the equation of the hyperbola given the following condition. The foci are at -3, -1, and 7, -1, and the length of the conjugate axis is 6. Okay, so how we are going to find the equation of this hyperbola? Okay, so first, let us identify the form or the equation, possible equation of the given hyperbola. So take a look that the foci are at -3, -1, and 7, -1. If you can see, the x coordinates are different and the y coordinates are the same. This means that the transverse axis of the given hyperbola is horizontal. So, the form of this hyperbola is quantity x minus h squared over a squared minus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. So first, let us find the center. Okay, so how we are going to find the center? We have the foci here, -3, -1, and 7, -1. And we know that the midpoint of the foci is the center. So we can find the center by getting the midpoint of the two foci. So using the midpoint formula, we have to take the average of the x coordinates and take the average of the y coordinates. So we have -3 plus 7 divided by 2 and -1 plus -1 divided by 2. So therefore, the center is located at -3 plus 7 is 4 divided by 2 is 2. And -1 plus -1 is -2 divided by 2 is -1. So as you can see, the y coordinate does not change. Okay, so after getting the center, we need to find the value of a squared and b squared. Okay, so how we are going to do that? First, let's identify the value of c. So we know that the distance between the foci is denoted by 2c. So how we are going to do that? What is the distance between -3, -1, and 7, -1? So you just count from -3 to 7, or you must subtract them. -3 minus 7 is -10. Then take the absolute value because we are talking of measurement or distance. -3 minus 7 is -10, so we have +10. Then divide both sides by 2. Cancel. Therefore, c is equal to 5. And c squared is equal to 5 times 5, 25. Then we have the length of the conjugate axis, 6. We know that the length of the conjugate axis is denoted by 2b. So therefore, b is equal to 6 divided by 2, 3. And it follows that b squared is equal to 3 times 3, 9. So we can now find the value of a using the formula c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Since we have to find a, we have a squared equals c squared, transpose this to the left, minus b squared. Then by substitution, we have a squared equals c squared is equal to 25. Then b squared is equal to 9. Therefore, a squared is equal to 16. Since we already have the value of a squared and b squared, as well as the center, we can now identify or determine the equation. So therefore, the equation of the given hyperbola is x, our h coordinate is here. The value of h is 2, so x minus 2 squared over a squared, so 16, minus y, then our k is -1. That is minus negative, so it becomes plus 1 squared over b squared, 9 equals 1. Okay, so this is the equation of the given hyperbola that satisfy this condition. Okay, so let's proceed with the next one. So find the equation of the hyperbola given that the center is at -2, -3, the length of the vertical transverse axis is 24, and the distance between the foci is 26. Okay, first, we have to identify the form. So it is already stated that we have a vertical transverse axis. So if that's the case, we have the form y minus k squared over a squared minus x minus h squared, or rather, x minus h squared over b squared equals 1. Okay, we already have the center, so we need to find the value of a and b. The length of the vertical transverse axis is 24. We know that the length of the transverse axis is denoted by 2a. Therefore, 2a is equal to 24. And thus, a is equal to, divide both sides by 2. So, cancel this. So, a is equal to 24 over 2, 12. It follows that a squared is equal to 144. Then, the distance between foci is 26. And that is 2c. So, equals 26. So, divide both sides by 2. So, cancel. We have c equals 13. And it follows that c squared is 13 times 13, 169. So, to find the value of b, we are going to use the formula b squared is equal to c squared minus a squared. Substitution. So, c squared, 169, minus a squared, 144. And therefore, b squared is equal to 25. Okay? So, we have a squared, rather, b squared, and the center. So, we can now find the equation. So, therefore, the equation of the given hyperbola is y. Our k is -3, then minus, it becomes plus. Y plus 3 squared over a squared. That is 144 minus x, and h is -2. So, we have plus 2 squared over 25 equals 1. Okay, so this is the equation of the given hyperbola. So let's have the last example. Find the equation of the hyperbola given that the center is at -5, 5, a vertex is at -5, -1, and a focus is at -5, 5 plus 6 square root of 2. So how we are going to do that? Okay, let us first identify the form. So as you can see, I always remember that the center, the foci, and the vertices are all located in the transverse axis. As you can see, the center and the vertex have the same x coordinate, and we have different y coordinate. Therefore, we can assume, or we can identify the orientation of the transverse axis by this information. We have 5 y coordinate of the center and -1 y coordinate of the vertex. So we have a vertical transverse axis since we have different y coordinates. And that is in the form y minus k squared over a squared minus x minus h squared over b squared equals 1. So how we are going to do that? We already have the center, so we have to find a. So we know that a is the distance from the center to the vertex. So let us just get the distance from c to v. -5, 5, then -5, -1. So same ang x. So what is the distance of 5 to -1? So we have to subtract 5 minus -1. So 5 minus minus. So 5 plus 1, 6. So therefore, a is equal to 6. So you can count 5, then 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1. That is 6. It follows that a squared is 36. Then how we are going to find b? So we have to find first the value of c because we have a given focus. So we know that c can be found by getting the distance of the given focus from the center. So what is the distance of negative 5, 5 to negative 5, 5 plus 6 square root of 2? Same x tayo, so we have to consider the y. What is the distance of 5 to 5 plus 6 square root of 2? So as you can see, nag-increase lang siya ng 6 square root of 2. So nag-add lang tayo ng 6 square root of 2 sa center, sa y-coordinate ng center. So therefore, RC is 6 square root of 2. Also, you can find it by getting the difference. This is the formula. 5, absolute value of 5 minus 5 plus 6 square root of 2. So we have C equals absolute value of 5. Negative times 5, negative 5. Negative times 6, square root of 2. So negative 6 square root of 2. So this will be cancelled. We have absolute value of negative 6 square root of 2. And that is 6 square root of 2. Positive. So that is why our C is 6 square root of 2. Therefore, our value of C squared is equal to 6 square root of 2 squared. And that is 6 squared, 36. Then we have to cancel this. We have 2. 36 times 2, 72. Okay. So we have to find the value of B squared now because we already have A squared and C squared. And we know that B squared is equal to C squared minus A squared. Substitution, we have B squared equals our C squared is 72 minus 36. Therefore, B squared is also 36. Okay? So we already have the A squared, the B squared, and the center. Therefore, we can now find the equation. So we have y, our k is 5. So we have minus 5 squared over our A squared is 36 minus x. Our h is negative 5, so minus negative, so that becomes plus 5 squared over 36 equals 1. Okay, so that is how to find the equation of a hyperbola given some conditions.